This is Joshua Hop, JTH Boxing. Today I'm joined by Nelson Birchall. Nelson, first of all, thank you very much for your time, and how are we doing today, mate?
Not too bad. Just finished last Sparring camp with Jordan then. Ready to go next Saturday.
Talk to me about next Saturday, and obviously I'm sure you've had a tough camp, as every camp is. I'm sure it's always tough, but has this camp been any different to any of your previous ones, or same old, same old?
Camp for me never stopped. I'm always in the gym, 365 days a year, I suppose. So it's more the intense of the training picks up a little bit, I suppose. But yeah, camp's gone very well. I feel sharp. Then just did 6 rounds, as I said. Ready to go next Saturday and put on a great performance.
Just talk to me about your career so far before we talk about what's coming up. Just tell us about your career. Tell the people about yourself.
I've won 7 amateur national titles, 2 British titles, a world bronze medal, and I boxed for England 20 times, won 16. The 4 times that off was either to European champions or the world champions. So I did so bad in my amateur career, and then I'm now 1-0 as a professional.
So obviously 1-0 as a professional. How have you found that adjustment, first of all, from the amateur style to the pro style? Obviously people always talk about how different it is. You know, in the amateurs you'll fight multiple times within a weekend. When you go pro, it's, you know, it slows down a lot, but the fights are obviously longer. The fights probably much harder. How has that adjustment been?
Yeah, listen, it's pretty plain and simple for me because I always had pretty much a bit of a pro style sort of thing. So a little few tweaks, obviously, but wasn't much of a transition as I've got a good boxing brain. So when you see plenty of boxing, I suppose it's not too hard to watch it and try and duplicate what other people's doing, sort of thing. So I've got a good coach in Michael and Dave Jennings, so it was a pretty easy transition. The day before weigh-ins, only having to weigh in once, that's a lot easier, obviously. You get to eat a little bit more munch, which I like, I suppose. But yeah, I'm enjoying the journey up to now, and listen, it's only going to get better from here.
Obviously, when we talk about the amateurs, obviously I was just talking to Leighton about it, about obviously how, you know, you have to weigh in multiple times. You know, you get out and it's almost like you can't switch off, because if you win, you'll probably be fighting again the next day. Is it probably that little bit easier now? So I know you've only had 1 fight as a pro, but is it a little bit easier on the mind and the body, obviously only having just to have that 1 fight, and then you get not necessarily a rest, because obviously you said you're in the gym all the time, but you get that little bit of time just to reflect a bit more on your last fight and pick up a bit more in camp?
Yeah, well, it's better also because you get to work on stuff that you was doing wrong, sort of thing, etc. Where I boxed in the World Championships 5 times, and I think it was 7 days, and that was obviously you're always against top opposition. I beat the first, I beat the Japanese champion, then I beat the Croatian champion, and then I beat Kazakhstan, and then I beat Ukraine, and then I got beat off the champion, who was the Armenian, who went on to win it. So it's more, you get to obviously tweak on the things that you was doing wrong, and where you're dropping your hand there, you work on obviously throughout the next camp on not dropping that, and other things, you know what I mean, where as an amateur you don't really, it's bang, flash, yeah, you're gearing yourself up, you're getting ready to weigh in again the next morning, sort of thing. You don't really have as much time, and you can't focus on what you was doing on the last fight because you're fighting again tomorrow, so you want to focus on that fight, sort of thing. So yeah, it's different in that sort of ways, and it's a lot better, the pro game for me, I think. I did get offered to go into GB, but I turned that down automatically, as my goal has always been to be a multi-weight world champion as a professional, sort of thing. So I'm only 19 years old now, so I suppose I've got a lot of stepping stones to get through, which every young fighter has to, but I know that I'm more than capable. If I stay disciplined and I stay training hard, which I will do, I'm going to do that.
So if you were to, let's say, map out this year for yourself, how active would you like to be? Because I always say this to amateurs, or even just prospects. Like, I could go through my channel, every single prospect I've interviewed, I always like to talk about activity, because activity can make careers, but it can also kill careers if you're not fighting enough. How active would you like to be over the course of the next 12 months?
Listen, I'd fight every weekend if I could. Obviously, if I fight every weekend, I get paid every weekend, so that's better for me. But it's 6-7 fights a year would be lovely. Do you know what I mean? But that's not up to me. That's up to me coach, and that's up to me manager. I leave that to their side. I just get in the ring and I punch people's faces in, and that's that really. That's all there is to write.
So we'll talk about the sparring that you've had today. It was the last sparring camp. Is there always that little bit of, again, you say cautiousness, just to make sure you don't get caught? 'Cause obviously recently we've just seen massive headline last week, Tyson Fury obviously had to get pulled out of his Usyk fight because of that cut. a lot of people were saying that he was sparring without a head guard, but in the clip where he gets cut, he had a head guard on. Do you always feel like when it gets down towards fight night, do you always feel like you need to be a little bit more cautious in sparring?
Yeah, listen, I think you should always be cautious in sparring, because at the end of the day, it's one shot and your life can be over. So if you're not cautious in sparring, you're in the wrong game, sort of thing. Because if you're not respecting that other guy, you're gonna get caught, and you could end up getting cut, etc. You could end up getting worse again, life-threatening injuries, sort of thing. I do think, obviously, listen, Tyson, they're massive professionals. They do everything correctly. It's just a freak accident where, listen, it can happen. Obviously, Tyson's lives in the same town as me. He only lives around the corner. So listen, they're full professionals. That definitely it's a freak accident. Anyone who's saying it's without head guards, etc., I just think it's a load of shit, to be honest with you. Obviously, they're full professionals. They know what they're doing, and anyone can get cut in sparring. I could have gone in there today and I could have got cut. I could have got worse. But it's just the way life goes, I suppose. And so you listen, if you're not cautious, you're in the wrong game, definitely.
Obviously, people were then obviously going on and saying like, oh, maybe he won't use this as an easy way to get out of the fight. But when you look at the picture that he posted, he was in the shape of his life. He seemed so ready for this fight. Obviously, personally, I know people are always going to give me stick when I say this, but I don't believe he used it as an easy way out. I think, if anything, I think you're a bit daft if you say he took an easy way out. He seemed ready. A freak accident, it can happen. It's boxing. Anything can happen. But to all those people who are just saying, oh, he didn't want this Usyk fight, he looked for an easy way out, it is just a bit daft, isn't it? Yeah,
well, listen, why wouldn't he want the Usyk fight? He's going to get paid millions and millions of pounds. And listen, Usyk's a great fighter. He's unbelievable what he's achieved. I wish I could go on and achieve just as much. He's fought the likes of Vladimir Klitschko. I know Deontay Wilder just got beat off Joseph Parker, but a massive, monstrous puncher. Before anyone got in with him, he was knocking them out before Fury got in with him. So why wouldn't he want to jump in with Alexander Usyk? He's not a massive puncher. Listen, he's a great, skillful man, and there's no disrespect to him. He's unbelievable. But why wouldn't he want to jump in with Alexander Usyk for millions and millions of pounds, and make up an excuse? It just doesn't make sense at all. It's a career-defining fight sort of thing. So why wouldn't he want to take that? I just think it's absolutely terrible how people can say that about such a great champion in Tyson Fury, to be honest with you.
We'll turn it back to yourself now, so we'll talk about that spar with Jordan Flynn. How were those rounds with him today?
Yeah, very good. Listen, Jordan's a great man. He's had 10 fights, so he's a little bit more experienced with me now, so it's good to be with them sort of operators who's been in big fights, and I learn off stuff like that. When I get with somebody who's a little bit lower level, I switch off a little bit, and you don't switch off, but I mean you just get caught with silly shots that you shouldn't really be needing to. Where when you're in with a good operator like Jordan, you feel sharp, you feel good. So yeah, it was good rounds. Hopefully we'll get them on soon after this fight.
Obviously, being here at Steel City, we're obviously just here for sparring today. What is it all like being able to see? There's so many people at so many different levels here. You've got Dalton Smith, who's about to push world on. There's obviously Jordan Flynn, Florian Mark, who's just over there in the corner training. What is it all like just being here and just soaking up all this experience from all the other lads here?
Yeah, listen, there's they're all great lads out of this gym. We've felt very welcome as soon as we walk through the door. We've got a lot of good lads in our gym, so it's good to be around. Obviously, we've got the likes of Mark Jeffers in our gym, so when you're around good company, I suppose you can only go up. If you're around bad company, you can only go down, sort of thing, I believe. So yeah, listen, to be around good energy like that and see them all train, it only strives you on to do better things.
Nelson, finally, I just want you just to give a message to the people. What can they expect next Saturday when you get in the ring?
Destruction.
I like it. Nelson, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck next weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.